Juice Bar back. Sean Little, Alex Monaco. Game 1 Eastern Conference Finals in the books.
Yep.
Historic loss for the New York Knicks. A lot of people that have been Knicks fans their whole life, easily the most devastating loss. Finals included.
Yeah.
Missed layups from Patrick Ewing included. A lot of different things included. This was a tough pill to swallow. Where do you want to start? Because
where do you want to start?
I tweeted in the middle of the fourth, verbatim, the Pacers are in trouble, Jack.
Yeah.
Karl Anthony Towns finally has a matchup advantage in this series.
Facts.
He's going to continue to eat. They're not going to be able to slow him up. We know they can't slow up Jalen Brunson, and I still feel that way. Josh Hart in the postgame said we got essentially we came off the gas on the defensive end, and we started to play a little bit, a little prevent, a little not to lose.
Yeah.
I'll say this, and we'll jump into it. The Pacers made plays, but the amount of things that needed to go right for that comeback to happen is astronomical. That might be the greatest comeback in NBA history.
I was sitting there thinking about it.
The more I thought about it and the more I watched it back, that might be, for what needed to happen, it might be the greatest comeback in NBA history.
It's up there. I mean, we got some crazy numbers. I mean, they're up 9+ with a minute left, and via get up, teams previously were 1,414 in the playoffs. So yeah, I mean, to your point, Sean, it was the perfect storm. I'm with you though. On the positive side, Knicks 15 turnovers, double-digit missed free throws. We spoke off the air. Brunson with the 5th foul. Lot that will not happen again.
27 points conceded off of those 15 turnovers. Knicks had 4 points off turnovers.
Now, let me ask you from a pace perspective. Obviously, the Indiana side of things throughout the first 3 quarters of the game, were you okay with? We were probably all wondering before the series whose style was going to prevail. It clearly went Indiana's way pace wise. Were you okay with bucket for bucket from a New York?
Yeah, they were busting their. I was perfectly fine with it.
Yeah.
We talked about this multiple times. The Pistons series worried me because they were just going to muck up the game as much as possible, and it was a tough matchup with the bigs down low for Cat.
Yeah.
And the whole reason Cat is here is because he can add 30 along, and you could put that next to Brunson's 30. And if they're getting 60, the role players that we have, they're going to be really tough to beat offensively.
Yeah.
So they get through Detroit. Boston was tough because they're one of the best teams in the world. And Horford defensively is really good. Cornette gives Karl Anthony Towns trouble. They get through that. For me, the Knicks offensively were better off against Boston, and they're really better off against Indiana because it's free-flowing offense, and when it's free-flowing, they have success. They're tough to stop.
Yeah.
So
you're all right with this series because it's just a constant theme. I just wanted to talk out the themes. Can the Knicks keep up this style without going deeper into the bench? We saw Campaign have 9 minutes, but
now the question is, I think the initial question coming in was, can the Knicks keep up offensively with them? They clearly can. They have all year.
Right.
Now, an angle I didn't think about as much was, can they keep up with them as the series goes on? I thought about it more like individual game, and it was like, yeah, they could keep up with them. Will it start to wear on them come Game 6, come Game 7?
Well, that's what the NBA and TNT guys were talking about. Like Charles specifically, he's like, Indiana is going to do this every single game.
Yeah. And one thing that's not going to change, when the Knicks win, no one mentions anybody playing minutes. Nobody mentions them playing only 6 or 7 guys.
Good point.
They lose, it's immediately they're exhausted, they're tired, they played so many minutes. That's not going to change. That's not going to change this year. That's not going to change next year. As long as Tibbs is the coach and they lose a game, they're going to be tired. That's that's the automatic built-in excuse for Barkley and the rest of I guess, high-profile media that aren't locked in. Did Josh Hart lead the league in minutes? Yeah. Did Mikal Bridges play a ton of minutes? Yes. But in the playoffs,
it's who wants him more. It was an interesting thing you mentioned, and via Josh Hart's post-game comments, it's that football mentality. You're up so much, you maybe aren't prepared to be up that much in that moment, and then it's prevent D, it's play not to lose. They eat up, let's couple of easy baskets. Next thing you know, I mean, there were a lot of breaks too. I mean, we talked about it off air. The Siakam OG former teammates foul reversal. I'm over here going to Vegas, need 4.5 because that was ridiculous. Next thing you know, we're in hot water. Two things, Ben mentioned it off air as well. Is Neesmith going to do what he did? Nemhard, both guys played above their pay grade points-wise, and we're looking at the captain with 7 turnovers himself. That just, when does he do back-to-back bad games like that, turnover-wise? You say it all year. It's simply not going to happen. So I guess now the question becomes, can they lock into their MO all year? They're 26-9 straight up off a loss. I think this is a comfortable spot for them.
Yeah, I think they can. I think they will. For me, the mindset of everyone should be they needed an absolute miracle to beat us. We were in control of the game the entire way. They could not handle us.
Yeah.
That's it. Like, that's the conversation. They flat out cannot handle us. Did we get tight down the stretch? Without question. Did we play a little prevent because it's like there's no way they're going to be able to come back? And I was kind of sitting there watching it like, Neesmith had hit his third 3. And I was kind of like, I mean, so what, really? Like, this is going to be one of those crazy endings, and the Knicks get a W.
Yeah.
They started missing free throws. Even when it was the Halliburton piece, and I will say, and we'll get into it, the Halliburton, even with 7 seconds, I'm like, he has to go full court. Like, this is still going to be a really difficult, like, he has to hit a miracle jumper either to win or go to overtime. That's exactly what he did. I mean, for Neesmith, they legitimately hit 7 straight threes down the stretch. Neesmith hit 6.
6.25.
He couldn't do that again on air in an empty building.
It's Klay Thompson, but he's not Klay Thompson.
It was Steph Curry. He morphed into one of the greatest shooters we've seen. They were coming off screens. They were catch and shoot. They were pull up. Some were from 28 feet. Some were from 23. Hand in his... I mean, it was unbelievable.
Transition.
He gave them a little bit of hope that they could then get it done. 12 missed free throws in the game. That's tied for the most they've had all year long.
Yeah.
Karl Anthony Towns missed one in regulation. The 11th. OG then missed the 12th at the end of regulation.
Massive.
I mean, there's so many things needed to go perfect for them to have an even chance for Halliburton to send the game to overtime. The missed free throws, Neesmith morphing into Steph Curry.
Yep.
OG dropping the ball.
Was that the right play? Can we talk that out? Because there was 19 seconds on the shot
Sure.
clock. Are you all right with that? I'm okay with it. Everyone's like this morning playing Monday morning quarterback.
Yeah, I mean,
pull it out. But like I said, I mean, OG with mittens on. Like, Brunson's not making that pass thinking it's...
Yeah, right. So, and you can go back a couple possessions when Cat gets the dunk. They could have ran out clock there,
That's
too.
true.
It was very similar to the Oklahoma City thing where it looks like they're trying to, the Oklahoma City thing was like, they were playing like they were behind and they were ahead. The Knicks didn't do that, but there were some very nuanced spots they could have ran some time off. But it's also, you can argue the way they were shooting free throws, take the easy 2 if you can get it. They had 7 possessions where they traded 3s for 2s.
Wow.
And it wasn't like the Knicks weren't scoring. A lot of those possessions, they were responding.
Yeah.
Brunson had a layup. Cat scored. They were getting to the line. It was just an avalanche of 3s, a couple turnovers, a couple free throws, and everything broke their way. And then we get to overtime. OG flat out just muffs the rock. So, okay, we take that.
Yeah.
Then it gets flipped, the foul call. The biggest moment, now look, in a game in the last 5 minutes full of massive moments, I think the biggest moment of the game, now that we're in overtime, yes, they shouldn't have been in overtime, but now that we're in overtime, to miss that goaltend on Jalen Brunson's layup, they would have been up 6 points.
Yep.
They go from being up 6 to up 1.
Yeah, it's a 5-point swing, 2-possession swing.
On a 3 in the corner from Nemhard. That's massive with 3.5 left, I believe, in the game. Just a really tough break. They would have been better off coming down the stretch in a close game than being up as many points as they were.
We're talking out the question about how you handle it from Tibbs' perspective with the tape. At least with the tape. Do you go back? I mean, it's one day off.
Without question.
Do we bury it? I heard the Rex Ryan thing.
You don't bury it. I think there's tons of valuable stuff you can pull out of how that game closed defensively. Since Mitch has been in game shape, and this is almost isn't his fault, he's missed one box out, and it was on the 1-3 that the Pacers missed, and Obi Toppin got a tip dunk. And if you go back and watch that play, Mitch, there's some rotation missed at the top of the key where Halliburton's wide open. So he kind of can't get to Halliburton because he's too far, but he kind of jabs to I got to
try.
Yeah, and it's I'm not going to get there. But by the time he stops and gets back, he can't block out Toppin. Toppin catches and tip dunks. Typically, that's a good rotation at the top of the key. Mitch finds Obi Toppin, and it's a clear block out rebound. So there was just so many instances like that allowed them to lose that game. So I think, of course, the film, there's plenty of stuff down the stretch that you could pick apart and be like, hey, because all they needed, Monaco, was they needed one thing to break their way. If they missed one shot, the Pacers were in trouble.
Yeah.
If they knocked down both of those free throws just once, if Cat hits 2 or OG hits 2, game is dusted. So, yeah, of course you can go back and look at the film. Brunson said that in the postgame. Let's look at it, and we move on. But the boys have bounced back. I know my thought is they needed a miracle to win. That should be the theme. What would you say the theme is?
I mean, I think they might have woke the beast. I'm going psychological here. Pete mentioned it. Reggie with the choke sign. They lost that series. So enjoy the moment, but you just poked the bear. So this is not only the MO of the team, 26-9 off a loss all year, third in the league. The city riles off of being doubted and disrespected in any regard. Could be sports, could be life. And this is New York City now being able to rally behind a team off of, what we all feel shouldn't have been a loss. I think going tit for tat on just looking at box score, looking at all the analytics, if you were to say run it back, what's more likely to happen, Indiana's box score or New York's? New York's box score. New York's box score is really with an uptick of course, Brunson and Cat. But if you watch, Cat had 30 and 40 in 2 or 3 games against Indiana. If you look at the Brunson numbers, he smokes the Pacers. So for Nesmith to go above the rim, for all 5 starters in double figures, plus ridiculous bench numbers for the Pacers, all that comes down a little bit, in my humble opinion. And I like the Knicks in an absolute smash spot, game 2.
Karl-Anthony Towns destroys Miles Turner and the Pacers.
Destroys them.
I don't see that changing one iota. Him and Brunson shot a combined 25 free throws. And let's get this straight, man. All this talk about SGA and Brunson, if you go watch they are fouls 90% of the time. They're putting themselves in position to get fouled. People are fouling them. If you got on the internet, you would think Jalen Brunson has never been fouled.
It's also a ridiculous comparison.
They're just granting him free throws all the time.
167, 161, one's a
doesn't matter, bro.
Well, I'm just saying the whistle and how it's looked at and foul baiting it's different. It's a different conversation, in my humble opinion.
And you remember when I brought up about Brunson's hair and the designs, I think it does help him.
Yeah.
But it's if we could talk about this for 1 second, because I think it's really difficult because he is little. He does need to use footwork and bang with people to get shots off. It's not so much because the fouls are occurring. It's the dramatics, I believe, that get people pissed off. It's always been that way. But if you're not dramatic, you're not getting as many whistles as you would get. So it's like, what am I supposed to do, right?
Yeah.
Like, Jokic, I think throughout the years, especially the new age, every superstar that shoots free throws has a little dramatic to his game because that's the only way you get there consistently. Now, I'll tell you this. SGA, tonight, I can promise you his whistle won't be as good as it was in game one.
No, it won't.
I think SGA's prop is 31.5 points. I would take the under. I think they win the game. I don't think he's just not going to get to the line like he did. And if you remember last year, Carlisle, Brunson got to the game 14 times in game one in the last series.
He went on the podium.
Carlisle went on the podium. He started complaining. He sent 500 clips to the league.
Yep.
This, that, and the third. It's the whistle is not going to get as good as it was in game one, but vast majority of the time, these are legitimate fouls, and people should go actually watch the plays instead of just looking. People look at the box score like, oh, look, guess what? Brunson got to the line.
Yeah, it's thankless.
So,
it's a thankless job. But looking ahead to game 2 here, talking that out, home court advantage going to be prevalent. Obviously, Knicks off a loss. We spoke on it. Don't need to mention that again. Any keys to the game? Any thoughts? I mean, honestly, like you said, a lot of positive from the tape first 3.5 quarters.
They needed a miracle to beat those guys the last 6 minutes.
I think that is all you need to say.
I truly believe they even might have got comfortable, like Josh Hart alluded to, that this was an easy game for us. They were dismantling those boys. Period. Point blank.
Is there any element of Indiana being positive about what happened before the fourth quarter, stylistically? Like, are they happy they played at their pace and didn't play at the Knicks style?
No, because I believe the game was going in their best style, and they were getting smashed.
It's a good way to look at it.
Like, that I think that's it.
Yeah.
The Knicks are essentially a more physical, just as good offensively for the most part, version of the Cavs. I didn't call the Cavs soft once all year, and I think, like, the proof is in the pudding, bro. You can say whatever. Like, I was a true believer in the Cavs. You talked to me, you were like, listen, man, these dudes are soft. Jared Allen is soft.
Yeah, they're soft.
He's quite the opposite of Mitch Robinson. A little more refined offensively. He's not as tough as Mitch. They don't bang as like Mitch does.
Mm-mm.
And if you look at it, they kind of just folded to the style of play that the Pacers played. The Knicks didn't fold. They actually thrived in that style. So
take a little from the Detroit series, take a little from the Boston series, put it all together. Because, Indiana doesn't want to be physical with these boys.
The one thing that needs to be figured out is the only guy that can rebound with the Knicks is Obi Toppin. He had 10 rebounds in 20 minutes. He had 3 offensive boards.
Yeah.
No one else on the team.
No
one else on the team had more than 5 rebounds. So if you could keep Obi off the glass with that second unit, whoever it is, find Obi Toppin and keep him off the glass. Because as you saw, when the Knicks got extra possessions in the first 42 minutes of the game, they were killing the Pacers. All those second chance opportunities that Mitch and the gang were creating were giving them problems. So, yes, I'm so riled up, and I don't even know where I'm at in my train of thought, but they took a miracle to beat them. The game was played how the Pacers want to play it. They were getting dusted off, and down the stretch, a miracle occurred for them to come back and win the game.
So 3 games at home at the Garden, 3 games at the Field House. Pete's got the number. I think it's plus 130, plus 135 to win the series. Something you would go to the window and print, as you would say.
Oh yeah, it's plus 142 for the Knicks now, and it was around minus 160 before game 1.
Yeah.
Is that value?
No, that's probably properly priced. The thing about these 7-game series is you want to avoid as much pressure as possible. For example, Pacers win game 1 in Cleveland. They were never under pressure the entire series. Ever. Knicks are under now pressure to win game 2 at home. You cannot go down 0-2 and go back to Indiana
right,
and have to figure it out. The Thunder versus the Nuggets were under pressure when they were down 2-1. They have the young horses, you would say, that could kind of deal with that, and they had home court still. So you just want to, when it looks like it's going to be a long series, you just want to avoid high pressure spots, and that's why the game 1 loss is big, because the feeling is, even though they needed a miracle, you can't go down 0-2 and then have to go back to Indianapolis down 0-2.
Is Indiana this dumb luck team? The Halliburton 3 in the Cavs game 1, or was it 2, was almost as eerie as this one.
Yeah, I mean, no, it's not, because they are fresher at the end of games. They are. It's been like that all year. And these comebacks, they look fresher, they are fresher. They played less minutes. They're playing 10 guys. The Knicks are playing 8. But you know what the funny thing about this is? The Pacers played 9 guys, really. Shepherd played 7 minutes.
Right.
But the Knicks played really 8, a full 8. So we're splitting hairs a little bit here, but they were fresher down the stretch.
You want to throw up this question on our way out here? Help from a franchise legend on the way out. If you were to add one guy to help this team, Knicks legend, who sticks out to you?
Probably Allen Houston.
Ooh, a little clutch factor.
And just more shooting. And then you would really get guys like Mikal Bridges could really get some rest if they had a guy like Allen Houston. Like, they could be splitting time.
Starks off the bench if they need it. I mean, it's disrespectful to say he's off the bench, but, I mean, Brunson's still going to start. So, yeah. I mean, a backup. I think Deuce, because that role is going to be massive in this series.
I think Deuce has been playing phenomenal. So,
but that backup point guard in this second unit, couldn't think of a better guy than Johnny Starks. Boys, chiming in. Any thoughts? Any Nick? I was going to go Ewing, but too easy. In the weeds.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I would say Ewing, just to put a hard foul to start the game on somebody. Set the tone.
I like that.
Be physical.
There you go. Yeah. Got to go Ewing.
Yeah, I defer to the more long-term Knicks fans, and in general, I'm doing that today. I don't know the hurt that everyone else is going through being a Chicago boy, but yeah, I mean, Ewing, Starks, Houston, just more scoring and depth. But
yeah,
Houston allows you to go someone to come off the bench with some real firepower.
It's true.
So that's why I said
he'd be a strong.
Dave DeBuscher, that'd be nice too. That's
I guess Clyde would be nice.
Clyde would be nice. another Josh Hart.
I guess Clyde would be a good.
Another Josh Hart.
Another ball handler. That's an all defensive guy too.
That was a great moment when Jalen fell into Clyde courtside. We were denied an all-time picture with his arm around him and stuff.
Yeah, that was a great moment. Yeah. But yeah, we're not worried. But you make a great point. Stay out of the high-pressure scenarios. Take care of biz.
Yeah, just stay out of the high-pressure spots. They are in one now. I think there was a lot you could take away from Game 1 that was positive. Just the close was horrific.
Any pushback on the NBA scheduling being every other game, it's every other day. The travel is brutal. Aaron Gordon spoke on it for wrapping the Game 7, and they did have 2 days off from 6 to 7, but the conference finals, you jam an 82-game schedule in to rush off every other. This does work against 8 on 10. If we're going there a little bit, is there any thought there every other going to get to these boys at some point?
It's tough. It's been that way, though, and both teams are playing every other. I mean, it is what it is. Like, it's not different for other squads. If anything, the Thunder could have been mad about getting the
Thunder should have been very upset about that.
Quick start coming off of their Game 7. But yeah, it is what it is. And let's not forget, this is entertainment and this is business. The fact that you can go home every single night for almost 10, 11 days in a row and watch a conference finals game
Pretty
It's good
cool.
for business. So that's what it is.
I'm with you. All right.
You like that salary? You like getting paid $60 million? Well, you might have to play every other day. That's it.
I got Knicks covering. You got Knicks covering game 2? 5.5?
Yeah, it's a big double-digit win from the Knicks in game 2.
I'm with you. All right. Make sure to check out the Juice Bar across all mediums. We're on Apple. We're on Spotify. Sean Little at Chicago Flow. Alex Monaco at Moneyline Monaco. We are rocking every week at MSG Networks. Tune in.